Hiya guys, welcome back to my channel. Today you are joining me and Jerry on a lovely sunset ride. I mean the view's better in that direction, but I thought it's been a while. I haven't really been good on this posting schedule yet, but we're just getting used to it and it'll all be fine. Anyway, in today's video I just thought you could come along whilst I ride Jerry around the common and we'll do a little update on Jerry's asthma journey and what we've been through to basically be to where we are now, which hopefully will be informative and interesting for you. And if any of those also have horses dealing with asthma, I'm currently looking at the cows in the field beside us. So currently in the UK, if you're not aware, it's been really cold and icy, so Jerry hasn't actually been out on a hack around our little common for about I think the last time, it must have been about a week now. So he's a little bit fresh, a little bit excited. It is still a little bit slippy, so just need to be a little bit extra careful. But as it's just thawing out, as it got warm today, so it's not as bad as it has been. So I just need to focus a little bit on where I'm riding currently, but it won't be so bad in a minute. Anyway, I can't get over how pretty it looks at the moment. So backstory, I bought Jerry as just 7-year-old, just turning 8, from a riding stables. So I, when at university, rode for the equestrian team and we used to ride at this stables called Quab. So I rode Jerry a bit in my second year. I kind of fell in love with him, sort of horse I wanted to buy in the future. I was always saying it was my dream horse. Didn't really think anything much of it, as I wasn't really thinking about ever getting a horse. I was quite enjoying, having free time, living uni life. And it got to third year and my instructor said around December, so this would have been 2018, was saying that they're getting him ready to sell. And I was like, oh, because obviously I was graduating that year, so I was debating it. And then my yard owner happened to have a space, because obviously I've been at the yard I'm at for the past 10 years, so I was like, if I get a horse I only want to be in that yard, I don't want to go anywhere else. And she had space, so she was like, do it. So long story short, I ended up buying Jerry from riding stables. So yeah, and then we were just getting him fit, brought him home, didn't really know anything, like didn't buy him with asthma, we didn't know about it. So we were just exercising him. We bought him and he was fat, like he was overweight and he wasn't fit, so we just knew we'd have a lot of fitness work to do and a lot of weight to get off. And where he is Welsh cross, we think cob, he naturally has quite a big body type, so we also weren't quite sure what correct weight Jerry looked like, because his apple bum we kind of thought he would never get rid of due to the breeding that he was, and we just didn't think that would be a thing. So it was a bit of a long game, and I think it got to the point where I was getting to the point where I just kind of assumed that he found work hard because of it was his breed, rather than the fact that it was anything else going on, as well as like my capability of getting a horse fit, and I thought I was doing all the wrong things, which obviously wasn't true. And then it became apparent that when Jerry started doing proper dressage lessons, where we actually managed to figure out how to get him to use himself, he started having these tiny little nosebleeds. And originally the vets weren't really that concerned, because when I say nosebleeds, it was like a speck of blood on his nose. It really wasn't that worrying at the time, and they weren't too concerned. Just pretty views. They weren't too concerned about it, but eventually over time they kept happening, and it just seemed that only when he was doing really hard work, and it was just a bit peculiar. So he went in for scopes. This was October 2021, so obviously I've had him about 3 years at this point, so, and we were a bit like, something's not quite right, he's just finding all this really hard. So we took him in for scopes, and yeah, they came out saying that he's got mild asthma, he's just slightly exercise intolerant. Future Rebecca here poorly explained it. So he went in for scopes because they wanted to see where the blood was coming from. They were worried it was coming, I think, from his lungs. In the end, the blood was just coming from one of the vessels in his nose, where he was having to breathe so heavily to get oxygen in from the asthma. It was just bursting a vessel, so whenever he was worked really hard, he obviously struggled. And that's where the blood was coming from in the end, just to clarify. But obviously they did then notice he had too much mucus when being worked than average, so he had lots of mucus in his nose after exercise and after not a lot of exercise, which is why they then did the tests and found out he had asthma. So I just thought I'd clear that up slightly better. Anyway, back to riding Rebecca. yeah, he's got mild asthma, he's slightly exercise intolerant, and they gave me to start with, we had the inhaler, so it was just normal human inhalers, which is quite funny to think of, and then we popped them onto a baby inhaler just so he could take that. So we had that, I think, every day, and slowly working up how many puffs he had a day, and he did get a lot better. We did notice it. Obviously this was in October and winter months are slightly easier for him anyway. I'm gonna have to swap hands, my arm is getting dead. So this was in like the winter months. He did get lots better, but I think he still did have some nosebleeds. So the vets wanted him in for another scope, and they were like, it's better, but it's still not cleared up as much as we wanted it to. So I think we just had to, instead of, there was a chance where once we would take him, we would just take him off them and it would just be a one-time course. But the vet was like, no, I'm not quite happy with his progress. So she said it's not going to ever cure itself, he's going to be stuck with it for life, and that we just need to keep on maintaining him. So she just said we really need to keep up with the good environment for him, and you know, just monitor it and be careful, but that there was no reason why he couldn't get better. But it's kind of a suck it and see, because you don't really know with asthma. Like, it's, they call it asthma because it's the closest thing to human asthma, but it's not really comparable because they're kind of different. So good boy. I don't know what you're being worried about, but Jerry, if you didn't know, is quite a squeaky animal. So anyway, so we then got to Christmas, and I think my friend went to the Horse of the Year show, and she was like, why don't you get a nebulizer? And I checked out about it, and I could get it on the insurance, so we got it on the insurance. We also built a window in his stable just so he had a bit better so we also built a window in his stable so he had better circulation. And it was all going really well, felt better on the nebulizer. It was much more convenient because I could do it 3 times. I think with the inhaler it was kind of every day, and it was quite hard to do, where the nebulizer you could just put it on and kind of leave it. I say leave it, you can't leave Jerry with it on because he will try break it and take it off himself. Good boy. But it was the better solution. Anyway, so at this point we were also really trying to get him fit. We had the weigh table out, so we got Jerry weighed, and she measured him at 713 kg and said that he'd probably should be 20 kg lighter, and marked him a 4 out of 5. Still on the ride, still alive. Anyway, so plan for the new year was get the weight off Jerry, get him fit, and just see what we can do, because obviously I really want to event, but eventing up until this point he'd really struggled with the cross country section of the phase, and I just assumed it's because I couldn't get him fit, but obviously it was the asthma. So we just wanted to see if we got him the fittest possible, got all the weight off him, would he be able to event still. So that was our plan, and it was going really well. I think he got better, and then we tried to do the event trial at Morton, because we thought that was a good little, doesn't have to do the dressage, but we'll see how he copes with the cross country and the show jumping. And it was definitely a lot better, but I think at that point the pollen started to kick in. And I don't think I've ever noticed him being that bad in April, but I've never really competed him in April before. But it seemed that, yes, I know. It seemed that actually he was kind of affected by the pollen. We got a new supplement from a vet, which did seem to get rid of a lot of our problems. There were lots of little flowers in the field when you brought him in and out, and every time he'd go through it he kind of breathed heavily, which made me think the pollen was upsetting him. So on the supplement we didn't notice him doing it again, so that was good. Obviously we did have a bit of issue when it got really hot in the summer, where we did still had days where I felt like he didn't have energy, so I started taking him to the gallops at this point to try see if we can get him a little bit fitter and get rid of, again, any more struggles so he can be the fittest possible. And then we got to where we are now, where he felt a lot fitter. We tried him in his first BE80, absolutely smashed it. Tried a BE90, smashed it. So I'm really pleased with him. Other things we tried were salt therapy, and that did seem to help clear out his system. There's not someone in Hampshire that does salt therapy anymore, so unfortunately that's not something we can really pursue, but we will try to take him to the beach when possible. So that leads us to kind of where we're at the moment. So at the moment we're just trying to keep him fit, keep the weight off him, which I still think we've got weight to get off him, but it's so hard in the winter, especially when you have a good doer. Oh, look at the pretty sunset. So yeah, our plan going forward really is just to keep him fit, keep the weight off him. He gets his nebulizer 3 times a week. Sometimes it's just with saline solution, sometimes with medication. It really depends on what time I have in the week, but it's about, you know, even split between the two. He gets his Respirade powder from Science Supplements to get him those omega-3s to help him battle with any pollen or dust, to minimise the dust in his stables. So it's, you know, cleaning cobwebs, you know, keeping the area dust free. In the summer he will go out again, so he did start living out in the summer, just because it helped him just a bit, you know, stay away from the dust. They're saying that the fields did get quite dusty, so we'll see how it goes. But now in the winter he's back in due to his pink skin and avoiding mud fever. Honestly, it's one thing or another with him, really. But we are getting there. He is improving so much, and I am really thrilled with him. So yeah, anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. I managed to finish it just before it got a bit too dark. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I will have another one out for you next week. If you could please like, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you next week. So from Jerry and I, he's on a mission for his dinner. So thank you for watching. Bye.